Hey guys, how you doing? Today is let's see, May 4th maybe? May 3rd, May 4th, something like that. And it's going to be episode 4 for the Farmall F20, or F20s I guess I could say. Got a couple things done that I didn't do on video just because it was well, just because I guess. I tore apart the carburetor and I've got it soaking in my chem dip for carburetors. And then I also ordered 3.5 gallons of this Evapor Rust. Apparently this stuff is supposed to work pretty beautifully on getting rid of rust on metal. A lot of guys have used the electrolysis method, make their own electrolysis tank, but due to my lack of space and lack of materials, I figured, well, this stuff is worth a shot. So, and this is just a pint or a quart bottle that I picked up from my local Harbor Freight. I just figured I'd try it, but I do have 3.5 gallons coming. I've got the choke body section of the carburetor soaking in it right now, and it seems to be working. So this fluid was clear when I poured it in, and I've already pulled this this choke body out once to look at it, and it seems to be working pretty darn well. So once I clean these parts, degrease them, I'll soak them in hot dish soap and water to get rid of that chem dip, and I'll put these in that 3.5 gallon pail to see what happens with them. So also I cleaned up the magneto, and I was going to go through this, and I wasn't able to get any spark out of it without breaking into the points. The points are underneath this cap here, and then the rotor's underneath here. So I'm going to make another video probably later, maybe that'll be episode 5, of breaking into this magneto to try to get some spark out of it. And then also I'll show what the carburetor is going to look like after the Evapor Rust. And I stopped and got a couple fittings. This will be the carburetor bowl drain, and this will be the overflow that I'm gonna make for it. So those two are due for replacement. The original drain had a broken valve on it, and then the overflow drain is pretty plugged up. So that's kind of where we're sitting with the carburetor and magneto. Right now I got my trunk loaded with tools, and we're gonna head over to the tractor to see what we can do with the cylinders, and maybe start taking the clutch apart as well. But right now my main focus is on the cylinders, and then go from there. So let's head over. Obviously the sun's got a lot of power though. Hold on a minute. Well guys, we had a little problem with the tires getting wrapped up in the wheels and the brakes and stuff, so we had to cut the tires off this thing. But now we're pretty much ready to go. So we're going to pull it up in front of the garage so I got access to power and air, and then get back to work here. Alright? FYI, you're responsible for getting rid of the rubber. I'll try to hook that ball. I gotta go lower? Stay on the clutch just in case. Well guys, what I did was I took a hone and I honed the top side of the cylinders, and then I took a wire wheel on my drill and I cleaned off the top of the pistons. And I'm going to take the camera out of here. So you guys can see they're actually in the middle two, number 2 and 3 are in really good shape. Shouldn't take much to get them loose, but 1 and 4 seems like they got a little bit more buildup around the outside edges of the piston, so that might take a little bit more work. But right now I'm going to start with pulling the oil pan off, and we'll go from there. I did drain the oil too, and there's at least half a gallon of water that came out of the bottom. It was either water or automatic transmission fluid. That landed in my mouth. I have to go get a wrench. I don't think I'll be able to get the socket on this one. So these will work. And Alice, I think she'll know when logic and proportion. I don't know why, but I got Jefferson Airplane White Rabbit in my head. Yeah. The seat's fucking taking a beating since I got this tractor. I bet. My buddy's working on getting his belly mower tuned up for his Model B. So he's going to put that mower on there and start cutting his grass today. We sure don't make this bolt easy to get at here. Got one here. Oof. You excited to sell your place? Yeah. Alright guys. Well, Well, as you can see, we have cylinders 2 and 3 out, or I should say the pistons rather. That's a good sign. Basically what I did was I pulled the oil pan, then I pulled all the rod caps off. I pulled the rod bolts out from the top of the connecting rods, and then from the bottom I used a brass punch and started tapping up on the bottoms of the connecting rods, and they eventually started moving. So I put some ATF and transmission fluid in the cylinders just for lubricant and as a penetrant, and I worked them up and down a couple times, then I was able to remove them from the bottom. So I'm going to try and do the same thing with cylinders 2 and 4, or I should say 1 and 4, excuse me. I've already got some ATF in there soaking, ATF and acetone. So let's give that a quick try and see what happens. I'll set the camera up here. We'll see what happens. And as you can hear, Damian, my friend, is in the background. He's got the bee going in the lawn. So see what we can do. That one seems pretty stuck. Getting a little bit of movement. I think we're going up a little bit. That's good news. Goal is to get it up past the crankshaft. That way I can drive it back down and take it out the bottom. This is going to be a messy process here. I'm going to have to move the camera. I don't want to splash it. Let me put on some safety glasses. I don't want to get acetone in my eyes. Coming out the bottom, so that's good. Okay, so now I'm kind of in a predicament here. I have to get this other I wonder if I can turn this crankshaft now. I have to get this other number 4 piston broke loose so that I can turn this crankshaft in order to get this piston and rod past the crankshaft. but I cannot get the crankshaft to turn. So I'm kind of stuck here between a rock and a hard place. I don't think I'm going to get 1 or 4 out unless I can get this crankshaft to turn. And I also discovered that I've got rod bearings that have no babbitt left in them. So that's going to have to be addressed. I don't believe that these pistons can come out the top because the rod bearing journals are cut straight. They're not cut at an angle, so they won't fit through the cylinders, I don't believe. They have to come out the bottom, if I remember correctly. The crankshaft journal looks to be in good shape, even though there's no babbitt left on the number 2 cylinder. Number 2 and number 4, but they're not scored. I can't feel any edges with my fingernails, so that's a good thing. So for now, I think I'm just going to work on getting this number 4 to move and go from there. All right. Hey guys, how you doing? I had to clean up because I wasn't paying attention to the time, and it's already 6 o'clock in the evening. So I had to get everything cleaned up so that I could make it home for dinner. For you know, my fiance and I to have some dinner together and go for a walk with the dogs. So ended up getting cylinders 2 and 3 freed up and out. Cylinder 1, or pistons I should say, pistons and rods. Piston 1 and rod is loose, but I can't get it out because I can't turn the crankshaft. And piston 4, I was able to get it to budge enough where I could get the rod bearing out, but not the piston and rod itself. So I got it soaking up top with some ATF and acetone, and I sprayed a little PV blaster in there just for fun. And then yeah, the cylinders look really good, at least on 1, 2, and 3. So I would anticipate that number 4 looks nearly as good. So that's good. I'll clean the pistons up at home, at least for 2 and 3. And I'm thinking about just degreasing them and then soaking them in that evapo rust to see if maybe the rings and everything will loosen up. And then I'll check the condition of the rings, and yeah, it's been a good day. So my plan of attack is, since we can't get that connecting rod or the crankshaft to turn, we're probably going to pull the motor out of it, because I'm thinking it might have something to do with the clutch, because I know the clutch is stuck. The clutch pedal won't even move, so that may be why the crankshaft won't turn either. So we'll have to go from there. You know, I really was going to try to avoid pulling the motor on this, but I don't think it's going to be avoidable, just because it'd probably be the smart thing to do with the amount of rust that was in the cylinders. And there's a lot of rust in the water jackets too. I'd kind of like to clean those out, which I could do on the tractor, but I think we're just going to have to pull the motor out just because. And it's not difficult. I mean, we'll disconnect the 2 bolts for the U-joint, or 2 or 4, however many it is, and then the 4 bolts that hold the engine in place on the frame, and then it just comes right out. So we'll plan on that, and then go from there, I guess. I think we're gonna have new Babbitt poured in those bearings, but I really can't think of anything else. As you can see, I'm supporting Back Farms with my hat. I worked on the F20 wearing the hat today. Thanks again, by the way. It served me well out in the sun today. It was about 65, 67 degrees, so it served me well. Tomorrow it's going to be almost 80, so I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do tomorrow, but I may go back over there and try to pull the motor out of this thing. We'll see. So, here's to progress on the F20. Hope you guys enjoyed it.